Gloria Steinem once said, "Don't think about making women fit the world. Think about making the world fit women." A very warm welcome to yet another episode of Her Story, a show that brings you Bhutanese women whom we all admire, adore, and sometimes envy. Women who, against all challenges and odds, have managed to stand up tall and create a life for herself. Before we proceed, I must take time to thank our location partner, Home Basics, for providing us with the most alluring set for the show. Let's meet today's guest. In addition to being the Advocacy and Communications Coordinator at Save the Children Bhutan, she has also founded the Bhutanese version of Zumba, aptly called Zomba, in 2018. Our guest is also the first person in the country to have a Bachelor of Technology in Bioinformatics. She has worked for Ministry of Health as an economic researcher and even worked in Thailand for a year as international communications specialist. With numerous hobbies such as photography, videography, animation, and graphic designing, our guest is surely multi-talented. I'm pleased to have on the show Deepika Adhikari. Deepika, the first question I must ask you is, what is technology in bioinformatics? What does that mean?
I get that question quite often. Even when I sat for my interviews, most of the people don't know what bioinformatics is. So a bachelor's of technology is a technical field, and my specialization was in bioinformatics. Bioinformatics is biology with IT. So my subjects comprised a lot of IT subjects, but it also had biology, and it's now relevant to Bhutan after many years, even for the entire world, because we had a lot of AI subjects. And we used to call it computational biology, and it was all about moving 3D molecules in the computer. So it was quite advanced back in those days.
Yeah.
So it's to do with applying information technology in the field of biology.
What was the main reason behind you taking that course, knowing that you're going to come back to a country that might not be well equipped to accept you?
I went on a scholarship, actually. It was a Youth Development Fund scholarship. Although it was in the merit list of the annual merit scholarship we do after our 12th grade, right? So it was under that, but it was funded by YDF. So my interest was actually architecture or IT, but the architecture slots were taken up already. So I wanted IT. So when I went ahead with my interview, I was like, if there is IT subjects, please let me know. If not, I don't want to. But then they were like, oh, we have something called bioinformatics, which is a lot of IT, but in the field of biology. And I was like, okay, sure.
Did you ever worry that, okay, whatever I'm studying might not be relevant? Or, I mean, it's good that it became relevant and then you're put to good use now, but did you, while studying, did it occur to you that, okay, maybe whatever I'm studying could be irrelevant back in the country?
No, I think I was quite naive at that time, and I was fascinated by the use of word like IT with biology. So I found it quite intriguing, and then I was interested to know about the courses, the little credit courses inside. And there were a lot of courses like programming and even Photoshop and website designing. Everything was covered in it. So going through that course content, it was quite fascinating. I think I was too naive to even think about the future then, but then it worked out well for me.
Yeah. Deepika, for those of you who don't know, Deepika is married to 𝗄𝗶𝘁 of M Studio, and they have a lovely daughter who's 8 years old?
Yeah.
8 years old. Deepika, you are a full-time working woman. You also have a daughter, and you also help your husband with his business. So, and then you go ahead and come up with Zomba. I'm not going to ask you how, because I think women are pros at multitasking now. So I'm not going to undermine your performance and say how. I'm going to ask you why, though, because you're going to have your hands full.
Well, my husband usually calls me a very proactive person, so even at home. So even during the weekends, I'm always trying to find little chores that will make the house maybe a little tidier. So I like keeping myself busy, and I think I perform better when I'm under pressure. So I put myself under pressure a lot of the time.
And how was Zomba conceived? I mean, how did you think of Zumba?
I was always interested in dancing as early as I was in my primary school. So even in my school, I was known for dancing. A lot of the people, they have names for me based on the songs that I performed. That was there. But to be honest, I'm not a very good dancer. So that interest was there within. But later, when I joined Ministry of Health, I joined body combat as well here in Bhutan. So I think I did it for 5 years. And I liked it a lot. It helped me with my exercise. Then after that, I stopped body combat because I had conceived. And then I didn't have any workout for around 3-4 years. Then that's when I had put on a lot of weight. And then that's also the time when I went to Thailand. I had taken a sabbatical and I was working there as the international communication specialist. So there I was doing Zumba to lose weight. And there, while doing Zumba in one of the gyms, some of the instructors, they offered me if I wanted to be an instructor. And at that point I was like, no, I'm just here participating. But later coming back here and I was resuming my service in Ministry of Health, I just informally started doing Zumba in the basement of Ministry of Health. Just informally, it was from one person to another. So we had a small gym in the Ministry of Health's basement. So there when I started doing it, I felt like I was slightly incompetent in terms of teaching. I knew how to do it myself, but I didn't know how to impart it to others. So that's when the next time when I had an opportunity to go to Bangkok, I went ahead and got myself certified. So that's how it happened. So interest was there throughout. I was working out as well, but then the motivation at the end came through that small basement activity that I was doing.
Wow. And a couple of years after Zumba started, you got to perform on the National Day.
Right.
Am I right? Tell me about that. It must have been quite an experience.
Yes, so it was the National Day of 2023, which is just like 2 months, which was just 2 months ago. So I was involved with my husband for the National Day concert as well. That was happening at night. So I was around the organizing committee. So there were a few people who I was talking to. So they offered me to perform Zumba for the entire public that comes in the morning, like those who are seated by around 2 a.m. in the morning, so that at least it will heat them up and set them into the mood of the National Day. And also the fact that to say that everybody was taken care of. So that was, I think, one of my biggest achievements. And I think there were more than 20,000 people. Okay. And then everybody grooving to that one song and then equally participating. And I would like to thank the DSP team as well. So I had requested them to give me around 20 to 30 DSUPs who would help me manage this. And then the DSUPs, they came along. They also had their own performance. But yeah, initially we had this Zumba for the entire stadium in the morning.
How did that make you feel?
It was quite overwhelming, actually.
Mm-hmm. I think it means a lot, especially after you've worked hard. Well, it started from the basement of your office, right? And now coming into the stadium, 𝗘𝗶𝗁𝗪 Stadium, after a few years. So it's a remarkable achievement, I think. Talking about achievement, what other achievements do you like to celebrate in your life? It can be big, it can be small. When you look back.
My three biggest achievement. One, which I already talked about, the Zumba for the mass public. That is one, the most recent one. And if I go back, the second one would be serving during the COVID-19 as the national COVID-19 media focal for the Ministry of Health. So when the pandemic struck, a team was formed in the Ministry of Health, and it was called the National COVID-19 Media Team. So basically we were doing all the press releases, the press conferences that were coming out. So my job was primarily to disseminate as much information as possible to the public about COVID, the new cases that were coming up, the explanations about hand washing, physical distancing, everything. So we had to formulate all the messages and also take it disseminate to the public. So that's one. And the other one is while working in the Ministry of Health as an health economic researcher, I have 7 publications in international journals. So those are scientific publications. So I think those 3 publications, being in the COVID-19 media team, and this is a badge that I have. This is the 𝗔𝗱𝗵𝗶 representation for the entire COVID-19 media team for health. And the third one is the Zomba for mass public.
I did come across those publications when I Googled your name. I think it goes to speak volumes about the effort, the hard work that you put into researching and publishing those documents, because as soon as I Googled your name, those publications popped out. Deepika, for the Zomba, you said you have recently decided that it is specifically going to be for women for women. Could you explain to me why?
The reason for that is because I used to have clients, male clients, and I didn't have a problem with them being around. And it's not even a problem, but what I noticed, because my clients didn't really talk to me about it, but what I noticed was whenever I put a male client with female clients, automatically the mood also changed a little bit. Mood as in they were very open about everything, female clients, but the moment I put a male client in there, what happens is they start making themselves very, they enjoy coming in their sports bra or even in their shorts, and they don't even mind, moving around, maneuvering however they want. But when there is a male around, it just makes them uncomfortable. They didn't really tell me anything about this, but I felt that it was only making it an uncomfortable situation for them. So I want Zomba to be a safe space for women where they come and work out as free as they want. They can sing along, they can dance however they want, they can tease each other, do whatever they want. So that 1 hour of me time for women, that is what I want to offer to them.
And how has that worked out? Have you noticed any changes?
Yes, of course. They feel comfortable when I have just women. And then because I have worked with the Ministry of Health and I was a health worker, they also confide in me, and then they talk to me about their reproductive health, their period problems. Some have some mental health issues, so they talk openly about it. So I feel that if there is a man around, they won't be able to be as comfortable in talking about all of these. And sometimes even when I'm taking a class, I randomly, in between 2 songs, I pause and then I give them advice like, if you are on your periods, you can still work out. There's no need to keep yourself away when you're on your periods, because when you're on your periods, it's the pelvic area that you need to exercise on. So we have designated choreographies for the pelvic area as well, so that people who are on period, it will help with their discomfort or pain. So that way, I feel that it's better to have women, and then because they confide in me, I want to offer it from a woman to a woman, and then discuss anything we want.
Has that received any backlash from the male enthusiasts, though?
Not really. There are people who have shown interest, men who want to do Zumba, but the moment I explain it this way to them, in the chats mostly, they understand it, and then there hasn't been any backlash as such.
Deepika, let's go back to your childhood. What is one childhood memory that is so close to your heart that you feel like has helped shape who you are right now?
I would like to talk about 2 instead of 1. First is I was a national level lawn tennis player. And because I had invested a lot of my weekends and after school hours in tennis, that's where my fitness inspiration comes from. So that Bhutan Tennis Federation, thank you very much. And the other one is VAST, because I was a member with 𝗲𝘲 for, I think I was in 10th or 11th grade when I joined 𝗲𝘲. I had a keen interest in drawing and painting, so I had been a member of 𝗲𝘲 for a very long time. Still am. I work with them. I volunteer with 𝗲𝘲. So that is where the creative side of me was born, I feel. So the fitness part is Bhutan Tennis Federation, the creative part is 𝗲𝘲. So thank you to 𝗲𝘲 Bhutan as well for shaping me into who I am. And now, although I'm from a STEM background, I work in the field of communications. So that marriage has also happened.
Deepika, you work for Save the Children, which is known as the largest organization for fighting for children's rights and children's welfare. Is there anything that you've learned on the job that can be of use to people watching this episode right now about children?
Yes, I would like to say not just children, but youth as well. I would like to include youth as well in this one. So the biggest lesson for me after joining Save the Children was that I got trained as a fun adult.
A fun
Yes.
adult?
Adult.
Okay.
So that is because we are an organization that works primarily for children and youth, and our approaches are mostly very adult driven. So I got the opportunity to be trained as a fun adult. So being a fun adult is basically trying to think and act like a child or a youth so that you can relate to them and you can also be a buddy to them and not an advisor or a mentor sitting on the top and just commanding, but then be as friendly as possible with the people you are working with. And it gives a very good perspective into how you deliver your work and also understanding your audience. So that has worked out really well for me. Last year I conducted 4 youth-led campaigns, and all of them were very successful. So I feel that I would attribute it to the fun adult aspect of it, and my work involves meeting a lot of children. So there as well, I am able to talk to them in the language that they understand, like sing to them maybe a nursery rhyme or dance with them. So
we could use that information in our lives too. If you have children, I think for you to step into their shoes and think like them, you have to become the fun parent or the fun uncle or aunt. Okay, all right.
I have also tried that with other departments in my office, and it has worked really well.
I see.
So yeah, that concept from the shift is the overall the youth-led campaigns program, but the component of fun adult can be applied to the entire organization, or it can be applied to other organizations, any organization that work with children and youth.
Let's talk about support system, because I believe for women to be successful at work or at home or in the society, there has to be a strong support system. Do you have one?
Yes, I do. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank my support system, which is basically my husband. Firstly, my husband, thank you very much. And also, we live in an extended family. So we have his grandfather, his parents, his sister. So we live in an extended family. So there is always help at home when we need, like if we have to go somewhere and do some event, or when I do my regular Zumba sessions in the evenings. There is always someone at home, so I don't really have to worry about who is going to take care of her, whether I should take her with me to my Zumba classes, or when we are in the events and we stay up to around midnight, late night. So that time, the grandparents, they always help put her to sleep. So that support system has been very helpful. And then I think I would also again like to attribute the way things have turned out for me also to the support system that I have, and I would like to thank my family as well.
Do you have a dream?
I used to. I feel that they have come true for me, and I live in my happily ever after.
Is it the family, or is it the job situation? What was it that you wanted?
I think it comprises of many little things. For example, it was not really a dream, but I would now like to call it a dream. I always wanted to visit Singapore. That was like a place that I had always wanted to go to, which I got a chance, an opportunity. It just happened along, and I always aspired to have a steady job. And when I was working for the first few years in the Ministry of Health, I was already aspiring to work in an international organization someday, which I am already. So it's things like that. So I won't like to say like I wasn't really ambitious or anything, but not really ambitions, but small dreams started coming true for me. And I think I'm at a very content place right now, and then I would like to call it my happily ever after.
You're a mother to a daughter. Do you have a dream for her? How would you want to see her in the future? How would you call yourself a successful mother to a daughter?
In that case, I look up to my mother, and I say this because when I was younger and when my mom used to be very firm on me, strict, I used to complain about it a lot. But now I realize that it only made me stronger and shaped me into who I am now. So not that I try to be too strict on my daughter, but I try to implement what my mom did to me with the hope that she'll become a resilient person when she grows up. So that I'm trying to replicate what my mom did to me when I was younger. And she wasn't a very happy-go-lucky kind of mom. She used to be very strict. Like she used to make me fold my clothes, make my bed, and then do my own dishes as early as I was like 10 years or something. So that kind of prepared me for the future. So I think that if I do the same things with my daughter, she will also turn out to be the same.
It's refreshing to see someone take inspiration from their parents, because what I notice a lot with people our generation is they really don't look back to their parents as for examples of parenting. But it's good to see someone who has a very positive outlook on how you were raised. Deepika, what's your biggest fear?
I think my biggest fear would be the uncertainty of the future. So that's also the reason why I said I was preparing my daughter from now on itself, so that she becomes a resilient person as she is growing, because we never know what might happen to me or my husband, or anytime another pandemic or something like that might occur, and then she might be put into a place where she would have to do things on her own. So that fears me a little, and that's also why I try to be a little strict to her already. Yeah, so my fear acts there.
My final question is what I call the Barbara Walters question. It's a fill in the blank, okay? Deepika Adhikari is, in your words?
Full of energy. Really fast. "150 years into the future." True love today. Lying.
"I do not wish women to have power over men, but over themselves," is a quote attributed to Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. This quote emphasizes the importance of women having autonomy and self-determination rather than seeking dominance or control over others, particularly men. It reflects a feminist perspective that values individual agency and independence for women. Rather than advocating for women to exert power over men, Shelley's quote suggests that true empowerment comes from women being in control of their own lives, decisions, and destinies. It aligns with the idea of women's rights and gender equality, emphasizing the need for women to have the freedom to pursue their own goals, aspirations, and self-fulfillment without being limited or oppressed by societal expectations or gender roles. Let's continue to uplift, celebrate, and amplify the stories of women, fostering a world where equality and inclusivity thrive. Thank you for joining us on this empowering journey. And remember, your story is part of the greater narrative of change and progress. Until next time, keep writing your own her story.